Yes. Solicitor's report.
I have nothing for public tonight, other than what we've been talking about. I have no other report from the House of
Engineer's report.
Thank you, Council President. I just have one quick update with respect to the dams. Despite the ton of weather we had, we're still working on Dam 2 and Dam 1. Contractors managed to be able to control the water in Dam 2. It's actually going concrete. It's a good sign. We're still on schedule to be completed in May. And as far as Dam 1 goes, the contractor is working on some clearing items and some other project issues. And again, we're still on schedule to finish that by the end of the year. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the engineer?
Thank you.
Willing to finish it by the end of the year? Yeah, I guess we could.
Mayor, business administrator.
The only thing I would like to say tonight is, we, as I'm sure everyone here knows, lost a very valuable part of our team this week. One of our employees suddenly passed, and very young. And I would just like to ask all to keep her and her family in our prayers. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
And that would be Tamara.
Yeah. We mentioned that.
Yeah, and I wasn't here. Let's try not to forget her name.
General public comments. Please come forward, print your name, state your name, and make your comment. Detective? Sure. One.
Jason Waters, I'm on behalf of PBA Local 260. The first thing I'd like to say is I appreciate Ms. Stoll bringing up the fact that there are some trust issues that are going on in the administration. Members of the PBA would definitely like to sit down and talk with council if council still would like to entertain having some sort of committee to talk about. I'd also like to address, before I get going, the mayor had said that we technically haven't had a chaplain for the past 2 years. We've actually had a very good chaplain who is absolutely taking care of us. We welcome anybody else who would want to be a chaplain also. Hopefully they are half as good as Chaplain Bass has been back there.
You're speaking to the mic.
I'm sorry. The PBA, this director thing is a shock to the PBA. One of the issues that we have is that absolutely nothing is brought to us. I understand that the mayor doesn't have to bring anything to us, but you would think that the administration would like to sit down with the employees that this is going to affect prior to handing out orders. Orders such as taking away locker rooms, other issues which are have come up in the past, which were not talked about with the PBA prior to the order coming out. What the PBA is asking at this point is obviously we want all of the documentation that was provided to council regarding the director so that we can provide you guys with some sort of solid remarks. Whatever Mr. Bear was referring to, and Mr. Pope was referring to.
That stuff is actually outlined in the ordinance.
In
In the ordinance.
Is there any other documentation that you guys are doing?
Some of the background information was just coming from questions for Andy and Dave and Dave.
Okay. There are some concerns with Ms. Stinney had brought it up as far as grievances. There is a legal issue with grievance. I understand that. our issue with that is that our contract is agreed upon, you guys agreed upon our contract, it was agreed upon with the administration, and then, and in that contract, it states that we're allowed to bring grievances to the council for consideration. At this point in time, the administration is not honoring the contract that they agreed upon. Within months of agreeing upon it, they are not honoring it. So that is a concern. That's where I'd like to leave it right now. Obviously, we'll be back next meeting. I appreciate the time.
Mr. Trumpin?
Jack Tompkins. Just wanted to update you. Last time I was here, I said I had put in an open request for the traffic survey in the residential area where I live. I did get a copy of that. I appreciate the timeliness of that. I also did take a copy of that to the Red Lion State Police Barracks and discussed it with them. And they said that they do have patrols in that area, and they would try to direct some of the patrols over there to also run some radar. So we'll have a little bit of state police coverage hopefully in that area as well as some of our local police force. I did notice Friday the 13th was probably Friday the 13th for some people in bad contact. Some of our officers were running radar in front of my house. I think the longest they stayed still was maybe 2 minutes. They gave out, or at least they looked like they pulled over quite a few times in the amount of time they were there. Very, very active, and I got to thank them very much for that. The next portion of this is I'm going to go off of memory on some of this stuff, so if I'm wrong or misquote something, please correct me. About a month or two ago, you folks revised Chapter 3, and Chapter 3 had, if I remember right, 13 directors, and I come up here and question that. How many directors?
Or less.
It was less?
Oh, that's less. I should. Yeah,
Oh.
it's less. Under law, there can only be 10. I think there's only 6.
Yeah, okay, at the time I questioned,
Yeah.
adding all those
Right, right.
directors and all that money.
I was just telling you that.
And I was, if I remember right, I was told that, it was just a title change, there was not gonna be any additional funding requirements for these new positions and everything else. And from the conversations I'm hearing tonight, it sounds like there's a contradiction in what's going on, because it sounds like we might be creating a director of the police force or police department, whatever you're gonna call it, to have a civilian in charge of the chief of police. I think it's just a mistake. And it's my fault. It's my opinion. Sorry.
No, I'm not.
But I hope you folks, Ms. Denny, you asked some very good questions. I hope you folks look at this, review it. I value the police department we have here. I like the fact that if I call 911, I have one of our officers show up. They're very professional. They're usually very courteous to me as a citizen. But then again, I haven't pulled over or anything like that, so I don't go into that. Yeah. But I think y'all really look at this. About a month or two ago, we were told that these director positions weren't going to change anything, but now it looks like we're changing something. So the facts aren't matching up. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Quinn?
Oh, here we go.
My comments are for the council and to the administration with respect to this police department director. I come from a proud family of law enforcement officers in another state. Mr. Mayor, a few meetings ago, you had indicated to me that it would not be appointing a police department director because the township council's budget couldn't sustain another salary and benefits package. Moreover, over the last several weeks and since the last council meeting, I've been extremely upset with the talk about appointing a police department director. As far as I am concerned, Chief Janis is the only person for this job. So if you're going to put a director in place, it better damn well be him. I am sorry, but I have not liked one damn bit what has been going on over the last 6 months with the grievances and our police officers who put their lives on the line every day. And I do know what I'm talking about. My father was a cop for 24 years. Your disrespect of the police department, Mr. Mayor, is atrocious. We depend on them, and yes, so do you. And I'm not lost on the fact that you are a retired police officer. I do not like your conduct with our officers, and it has to change. I am asking the council not to rush into making this change. There is too much upheaval right now in this police department to bring anybody else in. You are playing with fire. You are playing with danger if you appoint a civilian director to oversee the police chief and his department. He is the only person qualified for this job, regardless of the fact that the mayor has the power to appoint who he wants.
Yeah.
You have to take this seriously. If I wasn't so damn passionate, I wouldn't be standing up here. But I've come to every meeting since the end of last year to listen to you guys. And I hear a lot of yeses when you pass things. But this is our police department. And some of them have died. Okay? But none of you guys are police officers. So you have no idea what it is to be a police officer or be part of a police officer's family. This is not just a change to clean up an ordinance so we're in line with the fall draft. You said we have 6 or 7 other departments, correct?
6.
Okay. So my next question for you is, who's the director of the fire department? Mr. Murphy? You are? Of course. You are, correct? Correct. Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, or the council, I should ask, what firefighter training do you have to even assume that position?
Oh.
You go back one, huh?
That's one thing.
Can the audience please quiet down?
Nobody but the police chief has first-hand knowledge about how his department works, what his day-to-day operations are, what his budget is, what he needs as far as his vehicles are go, and things and equipment that these officers need. Do not rush into this. Please, you introduced it today, and there's another public hearing next week. We'll get next month. I will be back. Please, I am imploring every one of you guys on the council to think about what is said here tonight. I said before, at the end of last year, the grievances between the police officers had to be resolved. 1, it doesn't make us look good. 2, we can't afford a director to oversee law enforcement. I know what it's like to be in a law enforcement family. And I don't take anything away from any other officer standing here. But this is wrong. Absolutely equivocally wrong. It's not about cleaning up our ordinances. No other person should be director or police chief except Chief Jans. Nobody. And I want the council to really understand. The mayor can appoint who he wants. Not a civilian. Not ever a civilian. Not ever.
You heard
Thank
it,
you.
guys.
Mr. Miles?
Thomas Miles, President for Lakes. Just want to clarify a little bit here. There was discussion earlier on the Pembroke EMS and the lawsuit involving Presidential Lakes, Browns Mills Educational, and Pembroke. If I remember correctly, the 45-day appeal process on Judge Studer's ruling has passed. I think my bar attorney understands that too. we talked about 6 directors. Of those 6 directors you have, how many of those directors were previous supervisors of the department?
I'm not aware of that. Dave, can you answer that question?
Who's director of recreation? What was her position prior to becoming director?
Well, actually, she had a civil service title and a director's title.
Okay. Who's the director of public works?
Well, Sager.
What was his title before? I know it was a civil service position, then we became director. MUA.
I have no idea what I'm told.
Okay, so what other departments do we have? Fire department, which is,
Administration and community development.
okay, directors.
Dave Benedetti is the
So
director.
you're asking
of
who
community.
the director is? Yeah, the director, Dave Benedetti's the director of community development.
He was hired in that position here, correct?
That's correct.
Fire department, we know, is the business administrator by default of the ordinance, only because the mayor doesn't appoint another one. Okay. So realistically, Chief Janice could be the director, based on history and precedents set in other departments.
Andy, could you answer this, please?
Well, in the
We
ordinance-
went over this.
In the ordinance, it says that the police chief can be the department director.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Ms. Phillips first, and then.
Good evening, everybody in general. I'm very happy to see the room fill in people, because I know we got problems. I got several questions before I go to the police department. This go for Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I was absent from my meetings, I was taking families. But you wrote about a month ago a note for the stop sign between the New York and Tennessee Road by the park. You know what? Where the sign is coming from, China, or you are just making it up? It's not there. Today is February 18. Yes or no? Since I got about 5 minutes on in here. I guess not.
You only got 5 minutes.
Okay, my next question, this go to our lawyer, who was a taxpayer and paying his salary. Okay. I need to know, when I left from here, you stated to me, when I asked in reference to the police department locker rooms and all the grievances and what's going on, you stated to me in this room, you're not able to answer anything because we're in delegation. Is anything coming up for a month?
It's in the United States District Court, District of New Jersey, and the litigation is pending. And the attorney for the PBA, Mr. Gray, sitting right there since he brought the lawsuit, so I'm sure he can confirm what I just. Yes, it's pending.
Okay.
And when the lawsuit will take a long time to proceed through the courts.
Now, we know that,
Yes.
okay? In reference to my
Blame the
fire,
lawyers for that, blame the system.
okay. In reference to the fire department for the presidential aids. Long time, a resident doesn't hear no fire departments and no ambulance in our place. But you guys are taking all the money from the taxpayers from there. You're not giving them a break. It's coming to you guys later. Now we coming to the police department. Okay, I see the room is filling up most in the police department. What is going on with them right now since I haven't been here for a month? Can you tell me?
In terms of what?
And reference why they are here tonight for?
Well, I can't really speak.
Okay,
Well,
now
but
I know I hear all the things.
Ms. Phillips, all I'm saying is I can't speak for other people why they attended the council meeting. I would only presume.
Okay,
I can only presume it's because of the ordinance related to the police department, but, I mean, only a few people have gotten up, so I can't, maybe they have other issues they're interested in. I can't speak.
okay, I hear to the grapevine. The mayor wanted to put a director for the police department, and instead he had the police chief, Mr. Yantes. What is going on with that? The dust is coming up behind us?
Well, the ordinance that was introduced tonight creates the position of police department director under the FOC. The
Okay.
one that was introduced for, so it'll be for, I guess, subject to a public hearing and discussed at the next meeting.
Whose idea was that? Oh, it's a shame, Mr. Mayor, you were a retired police officer, instead of just helping them, you drowned them out. What is wrong with you? You didn't learn nothing?
Mr. Phillips, I have to stand, correct the audience, that was their state legislators, I think that's where your argument is.
No, yes? Now, I want to face the administrator. With the administrator, let's go into the fire department. Mr. Administrator, are you a firefighter? Do you want to become a fire director? I'm asking a question.
Ms. Phillips, can you please
Yes.
the question?
Can you ask the administrator if he has any fire field
There's a fire.
education?
Dave, would you like to answer that question if you have any fire?
No, I'm not talking about the mayor, I'm talking about the administrator.
Mr. Council President, the council by ordinance decided that the administrator is the fire director when the mayor has not otherwise named a fire director. So I am the fire director by operation of council ordinance.
Okay, I'm going to face him for a second.
I'm sorry, Ms.
Where's
Phillips.
the mayor who
Ms.
said fire, fire?
Ms. Phillips, I just want to, we're asking that people don't shout out from the audience. It makes
Okay.
it hard for the clerk also to type
Okay.
minutes. Thank you.
I speak for myself. I was a firefighter in the field, and I know that I gotta have an education. And I'm asking to the administrator if he was a firefighter in the past, or if he has any thing to do with the fire field in the past. Fire background. That he knows anything, then you ask him, since they cannot see him. I can ask him in Spanish if he cannot understand me in English. Okay? Now, we speak both languages, okay? You ask him, I want to know.
This is Phil.
Yes, I was a
I know.
firefighter.
I understand your point, but I think if you didn't hear the answer, that Mr. Gonzalez serves in that position because the township ordinance says that if there's no one else appointed, because he's the business administrator, he has that position. Whether he has firefighting experience or doesn't have firefighting experience. And by the way, I think we all know, there's a fire chief who oversees just like there's a police chief, there's a fire chief. So no one's suggesting Mr. Gonzalez is running to fires to put out fires because he has the administrative role of overseeing the fire department, which is implied in your criticism. But I think it's, so, just like any other department, there are budget issues, there are personnel issues, and as a business administrator who oversees the 200-plus employees here, plus he's done it for the city of Trenton and now somewhere else, I'm sure he's qualified to oversee, qualified to administratively oversee a department. But he's not out there fighting fires. There's a fire chief who oversees that,
Who's the one?
Mr. Augustone.
Okay. Mr. Agustone is under him. That's correct?
Mr. Augustone is the fire chief and reports to the fire director.
Okay.
But again, just like the police chief, there are there are day-to-day operations of the fire department that management doesn't get involved in. They're not out there telling them how to fight a fire.
Well, to me, a fire director should know everything, all his background, okay? As a lawyer, you should know everything in the background. Okay,
Hopefully I do.
I look at Mr. Mayor right now. You try to tell me in my 20-year services, where he served as a police officer, or 25 or 30 years, whatever he served. I worked with all those officers in the past. He can say himself. We go and try to just better this police department, not to criticize them, not to drain them. And he's not doing nothing for these people. But you know who's going to be the one who's paying the price? Every single resident in Pendleton Township is the one who's paying all the lawsuit. But you guys do not appreciate it. This department do not appreciate it. Any officer, you do not know. I speak for myself because you know what? I'm very proud and a mother for an officer and a veteran. And all of them, when they leave their house, you do not know if you're coming back. But this is the thanks you people give it to this officer. You have to be ashamed of yourself. Okay, the mayor went away. That's okay, I see in 2 weeks. And I will go for the fire director, guess what? He can be out, he can be an administrator, a lawyer, where he want to be, but guess what? He doesn't deserve the title, and that over there doesn't deserve the title either. Both supposed to resign. I hear the piece of land they went by next to his property. Guess what? I just hope somebody go buy the land, but you know what is going to happen? You people going here for the storage, and you don't want to bring in neighbors. Thank you.
She's telling you, hold on 1 second.
There are other people in the public. It's the council president's call. It's the group calls.
You just called me out to ask why we were here, so I figured I can address that, maybe save
No, go ahead.
comments. But if you want to go first, sir.
No, go ahead. I'm waiting for him anyway.
Waiting for him?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be rather brief with it. Mr. Gray, here on the council for the DBA 260. I'm talking about a separate issue than what Jay Waters brought up. We did just receive a copy of the proposed amendments for the police ordinance, which we hadn't seen before, so we'll address that separately. We'll probably even submit something in writing, which I know Andy would love.
That's even better.
Whatever I can do to help you. There are 2 grievances that are actually on the docket that were going to be discussed in closed session. I just want to address one of them and wanted to make the council and the public aware of the issue, and I'll actually ask that Officer Sawyer come up along with her husband.
We're discussing a private personnel issue.
I can't find
We have the approval of the actual agreement here. We wanted the council and public aware of the issue of her being forced out of work for being pregnant.
Well, that's certainly a characterization.
So,
What the hell is he to say that to her?
we want to give advice notice for an option to do it publicly.
Well, wait a second. It's a grievance. The council decided to hear the grievance in executive session. It's not, it wasn't